Okay, not a very good performance by the Red Raiders tonight, and we're not in the point and yet in this program where we can stack success, and that's something that we got to continue to keep getting over the hump. You play a good game and you have success, and I thought we had a good week of practice, but we didn't play well. And the bottom line is we didn't stop the run, and when you don't do that against almost probably anybody, it's going to be a long night. So that starts up front with the D-line and the linebackers. Whether it's a scheme issue or not, and we got to look at that at tape. But I know this: it was 3 down to 4 down to 5 to blitzing. I think bottom line is we didn't get off blocks. We didn't shed blocks. There wasn't block destruction. And tonight we didn't tackle very well. Offensively we moved the ball at times. Not very smooth early in the game to be able to try to match scores. But we did run the ball, and they moved it, and we scored points. The series at the beginning of the third quarter where we didn't come away with points hurt us, because there at the end it would have been a 1-touchdown ball game when we scored to be down 14. And then we don't give ourselves a chance with the onside kick, so we got to execute that obviously better. But a great crowd, disappointing homecoming loss to play like that here at home for us, and we'll own it. We'll get back, and the bottom line is – a little too many highs and too many lows right now for this season for me. But the one thing that we can do is stay together, continue to be, coachable as players, continue to be as coaches, better teachers, and we'll do a better job and see if we can go on the road next week and get number 5. We're halfway point of the season. See if we can win number 5. It's a long season, guys. And I tried to just tell our team that. And so we've got a lot of season left, and we got a lot of goals still in front of us. So, but we'll own it, and we'll go back to work.
Hey, Coach, you just mentioned about owning it. My main question is, what does it say about this team to allow an in-state rival to come in and run for almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in the Jones?
What does it say about us?
That could allow a rival come in and do that and be able to.
It doesn't matter, Jared, if it's a rival or it's an out-of-state team. I mean, I don't see the correlation, to be honest with you.
What does it say to allow any team come in and run for almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns?
Played cruddy defense.
Why do you feel like y'all weren't ever able really to stop them throughout the game from running the ball?
I don't know, and that's it's concerning. Whether it's schematical, it's effort, or it's just flat technique and not being able to get off, or were they that much better than us, or it's a little bit of everything. Credit to them. Their backs ran well. Their O-line blocked well. We did not get off blocks very well. When you can see a back getting through all the way to your linebackers very, very quickly, that's fairly evident.
You mentioned too many highs and too many lows. I mean, it has been a roller coaster every
two
week.
Lows, some good highs, but two lows and 2 disappointing losses where they felt at times where, when it got down 21 that you weren't competitive, and then we'd claw back in on offense, and then there goes another run on defense. So you're not going to be able to get back in the game that way. We didn't play very good defense.
Keeping the team from stacking consistent performances.
Well, today it was everything that I just talked about. I'm not sure. When you're trying to change the culture and change this program, that's the key. That's the next thing that we got to do, is continue to stack success. So we'll look at that. I'm not going to over-evaluate that or over-dramatize that. We're 4-2. Let's find a way to go on the road next week and get to number 5, and continue to get better and grow and get players back and play better.
Coach, over the last 2 games, Columbia had a lot of success, sort of stretching the field. Was there something TCU did specifically in that first half that kept you guys from, going down the field?
No, I mean, I think there were some shot passes that they did cover, played 2 high safeties and played deep most of the night, trying to keep things in front of them. But it wasn't a real good start. We got a few hands on the balls. They got some mirror hands, and the DNs caused some problems early on.
It's all the same at the end of the day, losing by 1 or 20, however. But for you and for the team in general, is it important how the team loses? Is it different whenever it's a team running for that many yards and losing like that? Is it just a different way of losing? Does that come off differently to you than, say, a different way of losing a game?
I'm not sure any way of losing is good. None of us are real good losers, whether you lose by the pass or lose by the run. But the first and foremost on defense is you have to stop the run. The ball cannot run through the heart of your defense.
You mentioned, obviously the stacking success in general. Does this make it tougher whenever you're trying to get those wins in a row, even if it's the same record? Whenever you have a win-loss, does that make it tougher throughout a season just to, from a momentum standpoint or something like that, just when the losses come compared to the wins?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to deal with this, head on. We won't run from it and we won't hide from it. Whether the losses are after a win or they're 2 in a row, obviously you don't want to lose 2 in a row. And so we'll fight like heck to avoid that.
Coach, you were talking about goals earlier. What are some goals other than winning that you and the team want to move forward with the program?
Yeah, I think the big goal right now is get our guys off the mat and go back to work tomorrow. Find ways to improve. Figure out what went wrong, first of all. Own it, fix it as coaches, first and foremost. And then the players and go on the road and win. I mean, that's one goal, is to go win next week and get to 5 and figure out, the next week's plan.
Going back to that first half, was there something specifically that they did to Easy that, in that second half you guys kind of tried to almost force it to, get the ball into his hands so he can make a play? Yeah,
there was some stuff they were doubling him with, but it was more not getting in a rhythm. Some of those things that we've got to be able to do, just in terms of the RPO game. It never seemed like it was really in sync until the second half. Certainly, it wasn't in the first half.
You look at a bright spot. Did you see Sir Roderick? I know we talked about him earlier in the week as far as his carries and his yards per carry going up. It seemed like, again, in this game it did. Where did you see his growth, even in a game like this where you're behind, still being able to feed him and have that production?
Thought he was a bright spot. He lost his footing a little bit there early on the one pass and one run. But, I think he's getting in that groove and, 118 yards on 18 carries. That's a bright spot certainly for us. And, that kept us in the game, to be honest with you, until we started throwing it and catching it a little bit better.
Pick 6, I think it was tipped, but overall, what do you make of his performance tonight?
Yeah, it went off. Seemed just okay. And we didn't protect him a few times. And a couple balls got away. That one right there was a little high. Should have been caught. Could have been caught. Ball was high, though. So it's on both guys. And, we got to be sharper around him. We got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to protect him. So Henry will continue to fight. He's a fighter. He's a confident kid. And, we're going to push him to be better.
Coach, the drive there in the third quarter that stalled on 4th down, did you give any consideration to kicking a field goal there, even though you had only been still down by 18?
Yeah, I just, you're down 21, and to be real with you, we hadn't stopped him yet. So I was wondering when the punt was going to come. I mean, we hadn't stopped him at all. And I just, you probably got 4 possessions left, and you're going to have 3 out of 4 stops on defense, and it wasn't happening. That's why that mindset was there.
And then the end of the third quarter, Columbia gets hit. They rip off his helmet. You had a pretty lengthy conversation with the officials during that break between the third and fourth quarter. Did they give you any kind of an explanation why there wasn't a penalty called there?
Yeah, they gave me an explanation. I just wasn't sure how a quarterback's helmet, when he lands on his back, comes off on its own accord.
They saw it a little bit differently?
They did, yeah.
Matt, first on the pick 6, did you feel like it was more on the quarterback or on the receiver?
Just both, just like I said a while ago. Yeah, the ball was a little high. We tipped it. We got to get on the top half of the football as the receiver.
Second quarter, down 28-7, 4th and 6 at the 20. You lined up as if to go for it. Then you had the timeout and decided to kick the field goal. Did y'all not see what you wanted when the offense was out there, or change your mind?
We didn't, and didn't like the 4th and 6 right there, so I elected to kick it. just try to keep it right down there. I think at that point you're still hopeful of getting some stops on defense.
And on the subject of getting stops on defense and stopping the run, you pretty much played, obviously, 6 defensive linemen. And Keith had said if you tried a 4-man front, that would leave you with only 2 backups. And he said last week that he felt like he was playing too many linebackers because of the breakdown in communication coming out of the Texas game. What are your options? Are your options limited, or is there a point where you simply say there's a reason why Bijan Robinson and Zach Evans and those guys were the top 2 running back recruits in the nation a couple of years ago? And
Which they were. Yep.
and
Yeah, no, you said that's true, and that's accurate. That's absolutely true. You know that. But you know, Don, I think when this happens to you, and you go back and you look at everything, whether it's 3-man front, it's a 4-man front, it's more backers, other D line. I mean, you do have what you have, and that's a true statement. But I don't think anything's off the table when you don't stop the run like we did tonight.
I mean, when you give up about nearly 400 yards rushing, has it become a desperate times, desperate measure? And so we'll put 8 men in the box and just have to be able to hope that you don't give up an 80-yard touchdown pass?
Yeah, I mean, you put 8 men in the box, and I mean, you're playing cover 0, you know. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you keep adding, and we did add, and at times it worked, but we gave up way too many yards. So I would sit here and tell you honestly, I think everything's up for debate and up for discussion, and it has to be. I don't know about an 8-man front though.
Go to Ryan to close.
Just curious, Coach, what were the players saying about the rushing defense at halftime? Whenever you guys all get in there, you reevaluate. What were they saying to you guys? What were they bringing to the coaches?
Not many comments. You know, just trying to make adjustments, and we didn't make good enough ones.
Thanks, Coach. We'll have players in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Girls.
All right, we'll start with Tony Bradford. Henry Columbia should be walking in here in just a few moments. Start with Jared.
Hey, Tony. Obviously, a rough night tonight. What were you seeing personally out there from what TCU was doing to you and how they were blocking you?
Kind of wasn't no secret what they wanted to do. They just wanted to run the ball. Kind of how that's how they've been successful throughout the season and everything, and we knew that, so it ain't like it was a surprise or anything. And unfortunately for us, they were successful at running the ball, and I take that, you know, more personally than anything, because I mean I'm a part of D-line. Our main job is to stop the run, and we wasn't successful with that today, and it showed, and it was embarrassing. But at the end of the day, only thing you can do from this point on is move forward, learn from your mistakes. I'm gonna stay positive. I'm still happy to be a part of this team and a part of this program. You know, we still have a chance to do something great this season. So once again, we're not gonna let a loss define us or, you know, stop us from reaching our goals, and that's still, you know, winning the Big 12 championship.
Is there anything schematically you felt like they were able to take advantage of? Or I guess I'm just trying to get an idea of what happened when there's a performance like tonight. Or was it more just man-on-man kind of?
It was just more man-on-man stuff, and we just wasn't making the tackles and making the plays like we were supposed to. It's literally that simple. And, you know, on defense, we had guys that, you know, wasn't aligned right. We made a whole bunch of critical errors and everything like that, and they took advantage of every single one. I mean, that's how it's been throughout this entire season. That's how people score on us, is when we mess up. Other than that, nobody ever do anything just, you know, out of the ordinary or anything that we wasn't expecting.
The coach mentioned that it's been up and down the last couple of weeks, and then, you know, obviously with Texas, getting the line was a problem, and then last week West Virginia a lot better, and then now you just mentioned alignment problems again. Like, why is that? Why does that happen? I guess for people who don't understand, why does misalignment happen when obviously you practice it a lot?
I think it just comes down to just going through a progression. And sometimes we all make mistakes, and just missing a single step in that progression, that can cost you on defense. I mean, on offense, you might have a chance to play another down again or whatever. But on defense, the the opponent's band is playing because every little detail counts. And I mean, it's just something that's all it is for that. And while we keep going high and low, winning one week, losing the next, winning one week, losing the next, or whatever, that I don't know. There's honestly no answer to that. We just got to learn how to stack success and just keep being consistent with it, and that's all that is.
We'll also take questions for Henry Columbia.
Tony, whenever you're obviously talking about right now, but during the game, you as a defense, D-line, whatever, with the TCU running game, what are you guys saying to each other as it's happening? You get off the field. What do you say about how you're going to attack it next?
What we're basically saying is just stay positive. Nobody's hurt. The first time when they were running it and scoring and getting big yards and everything, we're like, we have to win on first downs. We can't let them run the ball for 6, 7, 8 yards on first down and then try to defend, second and short and everything like that. It's hard. We're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot if you let it happen like that, and that'll make the game last longer. And then you look up at the scoreboard, all of a sudden they got over 200, 300 rushing yards, and you just look at each other and be like, how in the world that happened? How did we let that happen? And so now, like I said, we just got to go back to the drawing board and figure it out.
Does it make it tougher when usually, I know like with Texas, it was a lot of yards, but a lot of it came from Bijan, one guy. Is it a little different when it's two guys that have over 104 yards? Does that make it different as far as bringing different talents? Is that part of the problem? There was two guys able to do those types of things?
We already knew that this was going to be a two-headed snake, quarterback and running backs or whatever. Like I said, they didn't do anything that we weren't expecting. It's just that we just were hurting ourselves and not lining up what we were supposed to and doing what we were supposed to do. There's no magical call. We just got to go out there and hustle to the ball and continue to just make plays and get off the field. Like I said, win first downs and everything, and then they'll be punting the ball more. If you let them gain 8 yards on first down, then you're going to be out there a while.
You and Coach obviously both mentioned the stacking success and whatnot. Does it make it tougher when it is you come out of the non-conference with a loss? Does that actually make it tougher to get momentum throughout the year compared to a winning streak, losing streak whenever you're going up and down?
No, I don't think so. At the end of the day, it's about us. If you win one week, you celebrate it, then you got to move on. If you lose one week, you learn from it, then you got to move on so it doesn't happen again. And so that's all we're going to do this week.
And Henry, with the offense there, what really started working for you guys in the second half? I know obviously not the outcome you wanted, but from the first half to second half, it just seems like it was clicking better for you guys on that side of the ball. What did you think was working?
Yeah, we were just taking shots on offense. We knew that their DBs really we liked our receivers better than their DBs. And we were getting into concepts where we could take shots over the top and get our guys matched up one-on-one. And I think that we did a good job setting that up in the first half and then executing it in the second half.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when it happened something like that, was that the way the score was, you were going to take those shots anyway, or was that it was just opening up to you guys and you knew it could happen?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. It's always in the game plan to attack the defenses, but in those situations when we're throwing the ball more, they're going to open up more. We're going to definitely get into those more often, and I think that's what happened tonight.
One positive I was curious about, Roderick, his carries and his yards per carry since coming back from injury continue to go up every game. Where have you seen him in this game and just what he was able to bring to the game and then going forward throughout the rest of Big 12?
Yeah, Roderick, he's a great running back. Having him back is an extremely great advantage for us. He's a real tough kid. He's fast. We can use him out of the backfield too, throwing him the ball and just getting him the ball in open spaces. You saw what he did tonight. He caught a little swing pass. He took it 75 yards. So just building off of that, we can trust him and count on him.
Henry, in that first half, obviously you mentioned that you guys were sort of setting it up to take those shots in the second half, but in the first half when you guys are trailing like that, was the thought there to start trying to stretch the field? Obviously, you having success specifically the last 2 games with that?
Yeah, we just couldn't get into a rhythm. We kind of struggled like the first 2 drives last week versus West Virginia. Once we got a first down, we knew that we could start rolling. It was just getting that first down, not shooting ourselves in the foot. There were a lot of times where it wasn't what the defense was doing. We were shooting ourselves in the foot, like I said, and we just had to execute better.
And then, Tony, on the defensive end, I know obviously you guys don't want to get too low on the lows or too high on the highs, but is it starting to sort of boil over into frustration when, you have games like this one in Texas where teams come in thinking that they don't care that they're going to run the ball and they think that they can run the ball?
Absolutely. It's more of like a disrespect type of deal, but until we prove that we can stop what they have set up or whatever, I'm going to expect these opponents to continue to try us. It won't happen anymore. I promise you. I mean, we're just gonna go in and fix literally everything, and get whoever making mistakes and everything correct. So this doesn't happen again. It's not a great feeling. I got to watch the film and see everything, from a different point of view or whatever. But it's not a good feeling. Don't want to be in this situation anymore. And like I said, we still have a chance to accomplish something great. And I truly believe that we can. I truly believe that we will.
Question for both of you guys. As older and experienced players, when you have frustrating games like this and you're trying to build the program, what are you telling to the younger guys as you try to refocus from a frustrating game like this headed into this week of practice?
Keep your head up. Keep doing the little things right, and it'll be worth it at the end. I tell literally everybody that, whether you're young or older, we just have to trust the process, trust these coaches, trust our training, and trust our techniques. And if we continue to do that, we will be successful.
And Henry, when you're seeing from the offensive side and you start to get to a point in a hole in the game where you're playing catch up on the offensive side, what's the feeling like that on the sideline when you're trying to get back out there?
Yeah, we talked about it. It was kind of like a similar situation when we played at Texas. I think we're down 25 at halftime, or something like 28. We can't get it all back in one possession. It's taking each possession at a time, executing what we can, just getting in the end zone. And I think if we were able to do that, then we would have got back in the game. We cut it in half at one point. We just had to take advantage of that last drive to cut it to one score.
Do we have anything else for our players?
Tony, you mentioned obviously having that opportunity to do something special this year. How important is each game from here on out, with that bowl eligibility so close, that for the first time for you guys doing that since like 2017?
You're thinking too far down the line for me, say bowl and everything like that. If we just continue to go 1-0 every week, then we'll get to wherever we need to be and get where we want to be in life. So that's all we got to do, is just focus on the opponent we have for that week. And then when you go 1-0, you'll look up at the end of the year and be like, oh, crap, we're in the championship run. Oh, crap, we're in the bowl game run. So we just got to I'll take it one game at a time and focus on being 1-0 for that specific week.